All right, all right. With that being said, what is going on, everybody? If you don't know, now you do know. You're officially tuned in to another special edition of the HFWB Podcast Series. And this is your host, Clifton Pope. This episode of the HFWB Podcast Series, as always, is being sponsored by goandfeelgreat.com, to where you can learn how to feel great for the long haul, thanks to these natural-based products, courtesy of the company Unicity, which basically presents the Feel Great system with two products: the Unicity Unimate, which helps you get up and go, and the Unicity Balance, which helps you balance things out as, of course, your digestion and everything comes into play as well. But regardless, I want to give a special shout out to, of course, goandfeelgreat.com, one of the official sponsors of the HFWB Podcast Series. But I'm not going to make this episode too long in particular, because there's a couple things that I wanted to talk about with everyone today who's currently listening to the HFWB Podcast Series. But before I get into those topics, I want to give a special shout out to you, the people who are taking time out of your day, as far as wherever you may be across the world, however you may be listening across the world, whether you're watching the video version of the HFWB Podcast Series on YouTube. I want y'all to click that subscribe button by YouTubing Health, Fitness, Wealth, Business, or you can YouTube at Health, Fitness, Wealth, Business 8726, which will lead you to my YouTube channel, to where you can click that subscribe button. Tell one person that you may know. That way they can tell another person that they know. And that way we can create a movement. That way we can create an army. Basically discussing the importance of generational health, generational wealth, which creates blessings on blessings for yourself, all that, and then some. So be sure to definitely hit that subscribe button to the YouTube channel for Health, Fitness, Wealth, Business. And at the same time, if you're listening to this episode in particular on Apple Podcasts or Spotify Podcasts, make sure you subscribe to the HFWB Podcast Series there. Hit that subscribe button, leave a review, leave a 5-star rating. That way we can continue to grow the podcast, because it wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for you, the people who take time out of your busy schedule just to sit down and listen to, even if it's just one episode of the HFWB Podcast Series. That means a lot to me, because it's all about providing information. It's all about providing knowledge. And at the same time, it's all about providing resources that help you grow through what you go through, find room for improvement, getting better at the little things, the simple things, because we don't have all the answers. And at the same time, we don't have all the questions, which makes the world your library, to where you could constantly find something new to learn every single day, because that's what living is all about: finding something new to learn, to where it elevates you, it empowers you, and it enlightens you, to where it's like that light bulb goes off into your head, to where it allows you to shine bright, given the right lighting, as I always like to say. But at the same time, within the HFWB Podcast Series, that's really what the core of it is about. I do it for you, the people, in that regard. But with that being said, I want to get that out the way as I dive into these fascinating topics, number one, and celebrating important movements as well, celebrating important moments as well. Even though this is a movement that will be televised, but that's a whole nother thing. But we're here to explore fascinating topics and celebrate important moments. For those who are listening to this episode of the HFWB Podcast Series, it is June the 15th, 2024. This episode will probably be out either later on this day in particular, or it will probably be released no later than tomorrow on June the 16th, 2024, which ironically enough is Father's Day, which is something that I wanted to talk about as well, on top of Juneteenth. Because I figured, with Juneteenth coming up in a few days, and for those who are currently living here in Corpus Christi, Texas, y'all are aware that the big Juneteenth festival at Water's Edge Park here in Corpus Christi, Texas, is going to be taking place today, to where we're going to have a bunch of local vendors. We're going to have all the corporate sponsors, of course, being there. And at the same time, it's just going to be a family-friendly, fun environment. And at the same time, we're going to have, musical guests at the festival from the Bio City Band for those who are in Corpus Christi, Texas, and basically in Texas in general. They're very popular as far as playing very uplifting, empowering band performance style music, as far as just to get the people fired up and pumped up. And at the same time, there's also there's going to be some musical guest appearance by the artist known as Tweet, who has some classic songs and moments within the music industry within her own right. And at the same time, the main event of the Juneteenth Water's Edge Festival is going to be is going to take place courtesy of the Houston rapper, also known as Slim Thug. Slim Thug is personally one of my favorite Houston rappers, and in my opinion, probably the best rapper to ever come out of Houston, Texas. But that's another discussion for another day. Regardless, I'm looking forward to being a part of that festival within itself. So for everybody who's in Corpus Christi, Texas, and who has nothing to do, you need to take yourself to Water's Edge Park. And for those who don't know where Water's Edge Park is, it's on the Ocean Drive. And if you drive down Ocean Drive, there's like a big space kind of like right by the water. It's kind of like near IBC Bank and all the restaurants and everything downtown and stuff. That is where the Juneteenth Water's Edge Festival is going to be taking place. I want to give a special shout out to the organization who's, of course, hosting the event, the TABIT, which stands for Texas Association Personnel of Black Higher Education. If I said that right, forgive me, Miss Tina Butler and Semine, if I didn't basically get that right, but it's all love regardless. And since I mentioned them, special shout out to Miss Tina Butler and special shout out to the president of TABIT, Miss Semine Sanders. I appreciate them for everything that they do behind the scenes as far as putting together the TABIT, the Juneteenth Festival, because I know how much it means to them, and I know that's their baby, and that's basically something they work towards all year, to bringing together within the community, although it does have its flaws and it could be a little bit better as far as the communication and the unity aspect of just uniting all the Black organizations, whether it's TABIT, whether it's the Corpus Christi Black Chambers of Commerce, which I'm a part of, and at the same time the NAACP, the Corpus Christi local chapter. There's always room for growth and room for improvement and room to get better and all those things as far as from a unity aspect to make sure we stay more united. But that will come with better communication and building better relations all across the community. So that will happen at the right moment and right time. And it's getting better, but at the same time, there's more room for improvement. But regardless, for those who are here in Corpus Christi, Texas, y'all need to go check out that Juneteenth Water's Edge Park Festival. It's going to be from 4 p.m. to 11 p.m. You don't want to miss it. I'm definitely going to be out there having a good time and, of course, embracing the culture of Juneteenth. And for those who are wondering, oh, what's the big deal about Juneteenth? Why we must celebrate it? I mean, is this really a holiday worth significance and celebration? Well, let me tell you why Juneteenth is important, because let's just put it like this. Let's talk about Juneteenth, because Juneteenth basically is celebrated every year now, every year on June the 19th. That basically commemorates the day in 1865, as I take you down a trip down memory lane, y'all. Quick little history lesson on the HFWB Podcast Series for those who are wondering what Juneteenth is about. Like I said, Juneteenth is celebrated every year on June the 19th. Juneteenth commemorates the day in 1865 where the last enslaved African Americans in Galveston, Texas, were finally informed of their freedom. And that alone is just significance within itself, because if you paid attention in history class, 1861, 1865, we had a big civil war in the country, the North and the South. Mostly the slavery took place in the South. Most of the slaves were trying to escape up north. That way they can live a better life for their families and get away from all the torture that they were enduring within slavery. And to commence that, they decided back in 1865 on that day, June 19th, 1865, the last people who were actual slaves in Galveston, Texas. Let that sink in. And it's funny how that I say that, because to this very day, Texas still operates like it's a racist state. It still operates like it's basically that slave master mentality. I mean, don't get me started on what's going on still in East Texas to this very day. People are still living like it's in the 1800s, but that's a whole nother discussion, and that's a whole nother episode within itself. But I want to stay focused on, of course, why we celebrate Juneteenth. Again, it was the last day back in June 19th, 1865, where all the last enslaved African Americans in Galveston, Texas were finally informed of their freedom over 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation was signed by, at the time, President Abraham Lincoln. We're all familiar with that. And honestly, when I think about the Emancipation Proclamation, yes, it technically freed the slaves, but at the same time, it didn't really do too much, because following that, we all know what happened after that: segregation, Jim Crow laws. Us Black folks, we went through a lot from that time period, but that was like a big step to where we can stand on our own 2 feet as far as being independent and being true to ourselves as far as where we come from and celebrating the legacy of our ancestors. And sometimes I wonder, with everything that's going on in our community, the Black community for that matter, I wonder how our ancestors would feel about how much progress we have made, if not any progress at all. Some of them will probably be disappointed, and at the same time, some of them will probably understand why little to no progress has been made. Again, that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. I just want to throw that out there as a food for thought to help y'all think a little bit. But regardless, Juneteenth, right? It's a day of profound significance, y'all, and reflection, marking the true end, quote unquote, true end of slavery in the United States. Honestly, slavery is still around, because if you get yourself arrested and you go to jail, I guarantee you're going to find out that slavery is still alive and well, because the prison system basically instituted slavery as a way to torture people and discipline people, and realize that they're going to suffer for the consequences of their actions that got them in prison in the first place. So to say that there's a true end to slavery, I honestly believe that's false, because if you get arrested and you go to jail, you're going to find out real quick that the slave and master mentality is alive and well. It's just that they conceal it in the prison systems. That's what they don't tell you, and that they don't want to tell you. But if you do your research, like I've done my research in the past, you're going to find out exactly what I'm talking about, and you're going to think that I'm not crazy and I'm not just saying things just to say things. But again, back to the topic of Juneteenth, also known as Freedom Day to some, Emancipation Day to others. I will say this: Juneteenth has grown in recognition and importance over the years, especially with it being designated as a federal holiday in 2021, which, again, it's funny how it took them all these years to finally recognize the importance of freedom and emancipation for Black people, to where after the pandemic was over and after everybody sat down and gathered their thoughts together, they thought, how come we haven't made Juneteenth a federal holiday yet? Let's make Juneteenth a federal holiday. That way we can give Black folks the long, well-deserved credit and recognition that they deserved after suffering for 400 to 500 years due to being slaves. But that's a whole nother thing. Do your research and you'll find out exactly what I'm talking about in that regard. But I will say this: the ancestors would be proud as far as to all the Juneteenth celebrations that are going on, with all the parades, the cultural festivals, the educational events, and the family gatherings. That's all important. Family fun-friendly environments, educational opportunities to learn your history, and at the same time having all these cultural festivals and parades to honor and commence the importance of freedom for, of course, us Black folks. So That's, I guess you could say, you got to take the good and the bad with that in regards to Juneteenth. And most importantly, the one thing that I get out of Juneteenth, at least this is the most important thing that people should recognize about the power of Juneteenth, that it's a time to honor the struggles. It's a time to honor the contributions that African Americans made throughout history, because we've done a lot. We literally built America into what it is today, because there's so many inventions that Black people made that most people don't even realize was invented by Black people, and yet they want to enslave us and torture us and kill us. But yet we invented half of the stuff that's still being used in modern day society, which again, people are not talking about enough, and they should be talking about. But again, we'll get into all that as time goes on. I just want to kind of highlight the importance of Juneteenth real quick, as far as just, celebrating the progress, while at the same time recognizing that there's still work to be done to fight in the fight for equality and justice, because my God, there's so much going on with issues with equality, diversity, and just inclusion. Don't get me started on the anti-DEI cases happening all across the world. They're trying to wipe out Black history within all the schools, the institutions, like schools in Florida, University of Texas, just to name a few. And it's getting crazy to the point where they're literally trying to revert back in the time, and they're trying to make us slaves again. And people don't even realize that. But you just have to stay in tune with yourself and understand what's going on around you, and then you could figure all this stuff out. So yes, I'm proud of all the progress that we've made in regards to Juneteenth, but at the same time, there's still so much work that needs to be done. The fight for equality, the fight for diversity, and the fight for, most importantly, justice is never going to be over, at least until the end of time. And then when Judgment Day comes and everybody is judged for their actions and all that stuff, then we'll get down to the bottom line truth that Black people are the chosen ones. And not only just Black people, Hispanic people are the chosen ones. We are the true children of God. We are the Israelites that they talk about in the Bible. Black people, Hispanic people, Asian people. We are the Israelites that is talked about in the Bible. Look that up for those who are wondering what I mean by Israelites, without a doubt. And now, as I feel like I've discussed Juneteenth enough, do your research, inform yourself, educate yourself, have these discussions as far as sharing beliefs, views, and opinions on how we can continue to grow, how we can continue to evolve, and how we can improve to where we can have better equality, better justice, and better overall diversity through these parades, cultural festivals, educational events, and family gatherings, basically honoring the struggles and contributions that all African Americans have made throughout history, and celebrate the progress and recognizing that there's still work to be done. So let's get to work to where we can have more equality, more diversity, and most importantly, more justice for us Black folks. But as I make a little shift in gears, I wanted to talk about one more thing that is going on within tomorrow's date, June the 16th, 2024, Father's Day, right? I want to talk about that for a little bit, because from the significance as far as Father's Day, from my perspective, being a man, it's important for every boy to have a father figure in their life. That way they don't venture off into a darker path. And honestly, I'm truly grateful for the fact that I've had my dad in my life all these years, because we may not have had the best relationship. He may not have been the best father to me, but at the same time, the fact that I've had that father figure in my life, I'm just truly grateful and thankful for that. Although I do love my mom tremendously, and the Bible and the 10 Commandments, it does say honor thy mother and father. I'm always going to honor my mother first and foremost, but my dad is a very, very close second as well. So don't get that twisted, without a doubt. So I want to say this. I love you, Dad. I love you tremendously. I appreciate all the things that you've taught me over the years. And this day, Father's Day, this day is for you to be acknowledged and recognized for everything that you've done for me personally as my father, and everything that you've done in a way as a father-in-law to the love of my life, Miss Emily Espinosa, as well, unofficially and officially, all at the same time. So I wanted to throw that out there for the HFWB Podcast Series listeners. I love you, Dad, aka Albert Benjamin Pope III. And fun fact about me, I would have been Albert Benjamin Pope IV if it wasn't for my mom intervening and stepping in and saying, no, we're gonna name our son after a veteran who basically sacrificed his life. My mom's oldest brother, my oldest uncle, James Clifton Guillory, and basically that's how I became Clifton Alexander the Pope. And fun fact about me on how I got my name, but back to the significance of why Father's Day is important. We all know this. Father's Day is celebrated on the third Sunday every June, but this year it falls on June 16th. And there's so much significance to the date June 16th, because a lot of people don't notice that June 16th is also the day that the late, great Tupac Shakur was born. A lot of people don't know that. So that brings a significance within Father's Day within itself, because we're celebrating Father's Day on the day that Tupac Shakur was born and came into this world. So that alone should just empower and enlighten all fathers that, hey, you got to keep your head up. You got to stare at the world through the rear view mirror. And at the same time, you got to get around in order to get things done. If you noticed how I referenced a couple of Tupac songs to kind of highlight the significance of Father's Day. But for those who are wondering why Father's Day is important, let me educate y'all on a quick little history lesson. The last history lesson, I promise, on this particular episode of the HFWB Podcast Series, this special solo edition of the HFWB Podcast Series. Father's Day is a special time to honor and appreciate all the incredible fathers, the father figures in your life as well. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's your biological dad, if it's your stepfather, if it's your grandfather. Hell, it could be any father figure who has made a positive impact in your life, regardless, whether it's your dad, stepfather, grandfather, or anyone who you look up that's older than you that you consider a father figure, right? It's about basically showing the positive impact that they've made. It's all about showing love and showing gratitude to all those father figures who have made a positive impact in basically their child's life. And honestly, most people don't even notice about Father's Day, but Father's Day, quick fun fact, was first celebrated in the early 20th century, and it was inspired by Mother's Day, ironically enough. Hence, going back to what I said, one of the 10 commandments, right? Honor thy mother and father. And there's a reason why they say honor thy mother first versus honor thy father and then mother. See, that just goes to show you right there, Father's Day was inspired by Mother's Day, ironically enough. And it basically, to take it even a step further, the reason why it was inspired by Mother's Day, because they wanted to find a way to honor fathers for their role in the family and their role in society as well. Because let's not forget, Father's Day is a day to where we acknowledge their hard work, sacrifices, and unconditional love that they provide. Yes, moms, they do a lot for their kids. But let's not underestimate the impact of what the father does to the kid as well, especially for a young boy. A young boy needs a father in their life. And at the same time, a young girl needs their father in their life almost just as much as they need their mom in their life, because a young boy can look to their father on what being a man is all about. A young girl can look up to their father as far as like daddy's girl, so to speak. And at the same time, that young girl can realize what a man is supposed to be like, and how whenever they do find a man, that's how they should be treated as such, so to speak. So that there's so many important contributing factors on why father figure is important to that kid and to that future child, without a doubt. And we acknowledge it and we celebrate it without a doubt. I mean, don't forget with all the barbecues, the family outings, to giving heartfelt gifts and spending quality time together. I know for a fact that I'm definitely going to be spending a little bit of quality time with my father and definitely giving him a heartfelt gift as far as showing how much I appreciate everything he's done for me over the years. Because I say this all the time, I wouldn't be half the person of who I am as today if it wasn't for my father. If it wasn't for my father and my dad being a part of my life, I probably would be half the person that I am today. And I probably may have gone down a darker path if it wasn't for my dad. And yes, my dad has went down a dark path before throughout the course of my life. And yes, I may have adapted a few things from him that made me a better person and at the same time holds me back at times, but it's finding that balance, right? To, of course, balance out the good and the bad and taking the good and the bad. But regardless, Father's Day is a wonderful opportunity to make lasting memories. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. And let's not forget the countless ways that fathers nurture, guide, and support us through life's journey. That's the message I want y'all to get out of whenever you do go spend time with your father, your grandfather, your stepfather, or any father figure that you have within the course of their life. Don't forget the way they nurtured you, guide you, and support you. And you know what? Give them that heartfelt gift to show appreciation and gratitude and love. Spend time with them, even if it's just for 30 minutes and an hour, just to have a conversation talking about life. That goes a long way. And you know what? If you want to be a little bit more celebratory, why not have a little party? Why not have a little barbecue? Why not live up to the moment? That's what I definitely encourage and recommend more than anything. But regardless, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about in regards to this particular special edition of the HFWB Podcast Series. As we celebrate Juneteenth, number 1, and as we celebrate Father's Day, number 2, in this month of June of 2024, let's take time to reflect on the importance of these occasions, right? Whether you're commemorating the historic significance of Juneteenth or expressing gratitude to the father figures in your life, these moments, y'all, are a reminder of the value of freedom, family, and love. So I want y'all to let that sink in as we celebrate Juneteenth and as we celebrate Father's Day. And with that being said, that's kind of all I wanted to talk about in regards to this special edition of the HFWB Podcast Series. And at the same time, bring you up to speed with what's coming for health, fitness, wealth, business as well. I want to give a special shout out to TNT Health, one of my newest collaborating partners, as I'm officially distributing the CMOS gel that I have through TNT Health here located in Corpus Christi, Texas. The address is 9450 SBID Suite 6B. Basically, if you get off of Flower Bluff Drive and go around that U-turn, it's in the Oso Bridge Plaza. You'll notice a green sign that says TNT Health. If you go in that store every Tuesday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m., you can get your exclusive CMOS gel from TNT Health. It officially started as of earlier this week. I'm truly grateful for the owners of TNT Health, Ms. Seda Salazar and Mr. Michael DeMarzo, for allowing me to collaborate with them and allowing me to distribute the CMOS gel, as far as providing me a storefront to distribute the CMOS gel. So y'all go check out TNT Health. Again, 9450 SBID Suite 6B, and you can get your exclusive CMOS gel, whether it's the original flavor, strawberry flavored, tropical mango flavored, or the mixed berry flavored, my 4 best top sellers. You can basically get your jar of CMOS gel. That way you can consume 92 vitamins and minerals that the body overall needs, and then some. And at the same time, with everything that's going on, I need y'all also to go download the first episode or the Organic Combat Podcast. It's available now on my YouTube channel for health, fitness, wealth, business. Shout out to my co-host, Ms. Kim Avalos, for collaborating with me on that. Episode 2 of the Organic Combat Podcast is coming very soon. And as a matter of fact, we're actually going to get ready to record the 3rd episode and many more episodes a little bit later on today and going forward. I'm also wanted to drop a breaking news here for the HFWB Podcast Series followers, listeners, and subscribers as well. I'm almost finished putting together my next book project. I'm putting together my first poetry book called End Times. What is your revelation? I'm about 80 to 90% done with that book. I just about to finish writing one more poem to finish creating that, and then I'll get it all typed up, submit the manuscript to Amazon. That way I can self-publish it. So be on the lookout for my next book, the first of 3 books that I plan on putting out this year. My first poetry book, End Times, What is Your Revelation? It's coming out probably mid to late July, somewhere around there. And at the same time, I plan on doing a book signing for that. So be on the lookout for that in July, mid to late time frame. Other than that, for anyone you may know who's interested in personal training services, they can reach out to me, giving me a call, 361-765-4760, or they can email me at all lowercase cpope.cp@gmail.com. That way we can put together a free one-on-one consultation and put together your own custom personal training program to help you get the results that you're striving to look for as far as establishing healthier habits with a holistic approach. I'm trying to make sure I don't leave anything out and within this solo edition. But other than that, that is some of the main things that I have currently working on with health, fitness, wealth, business. As I'm always trying to grow, I'm always trying to expand, and I'm always trying to find ways to get better every single time. So be on the lookout for all of these things as we just continue to grow and continue to grow through what we go through, without a doubt. That's what I like to say. I want to give a special shout out to all the people who continue to take time out of their busy schedule to, of course, tune into any episode of the HFWB Podcast Series. Y'all hit that subscribe button on my YouTube channel at Health, Fitness, Wealth, Business 8726. Look it up, subscribe to it, leave comments below. All feedback is welcome, whether it's positive or negative, because it's going to allow me to grow and get better and evolve regardless. So you're feeding into that. For all the people who love me and for all the people who even hate me, just know that. And at the same time, be sure to, of course, download, stream, and subscribe to the HFWB Podcast Series on Apple Podcasts and Spotify Podcasts as well. Be sure to visit my website, healthfitnesswealthbusiness.com/CP. There's so many things that I have working on that I'll inform you as time goes on. Be sure to follow me on Facebook, search in my personal name, Clifton Pope, or you can follow the Health, Fitness, Wealth, Business Facebook page. I'm trying to get to 1,000 followers, so y'all hit that like and follow button on the Health, Fitness, Wealth, Business Facebook page, all lowercase. You could also follow me on Instagram at cpope_44. You can follow me on TikTok at HealthFWealthB, to where I'm posting everything from all my workout videos to all of my motivational videos to even when I'm posting my nutrition as far as what I eat, as far as on my meal preps and other of my favorite snacks and treats and all that kind of stuff. More content on that is coming as well. And yeah, I just thank you for continuing to just support the movement of health, fitness, wealth, business as we continue to grow and evolve one day at a time, one step at a time. And I want to thank y'all for tuning into this special solo edition of the HFWB Podcast Series as we commence celebrating Juneteenth, the historic significance behind that I broke down, and showing love to all the fathers out there because of all the nurture, love, and care that they provide to all of their children. Show love to all the father figures. And at the same time, all the moms who serve that father figure role at times, who are single moms, special love to you as well for playing both roles. I know it's a challenge, so I want to give y'all's flowers as well because y'all deserve it. But other than that, let's celebrate freedom. Let's celebrate love. Let's celebrate equality, diversity, peace, love, positive vibrations, all of those things, because that's the only way we're going to grow find room for improvement and evolve to becoming a better version of ourselves at the end of the day. That's something I want y'all to remember as we continue, as we wind down this episode of the HFWB Podcast Series. Y'all know who I am. My name is Clifton Pope, founder and CEO of Health, Fitness, Wealth Business, and also the host of the HFWB Podcast Series and co-host of the Organic Combat Podcast. Be sure to download both episodes of each of those podcasts. And yeah, once again, my name is Clifton Pope, host of the HFWB Podcast Series, and I encourage y'all, as always, to stay healthy, wealthy, and blessed. And until next time, peace, love, positive vibrations.